Hey guys, it's Hayden here making another video. Today I just want to share my kind of where I'm at, what my experiences have been recently, what I'm processing. So as some of you know, I just came back from Scotland. I was doing a study abroad program there for group counseling, which is a part of my grad school program. Well, it's not part of like my grad school, but it was a program that I saw, and then I decided to take the opportunity. Hi, little Badu. I guess little Buddy's going to be part of the video today. Um, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to explain all this, but like I feel like I learned a lot, both like on a professional level, but also like a personal level as well, when I was out there. And I don't know, I feel like I really had to reflect and process kind of what I was learning and what came up in the experience. So throughout the process, whenever you're in a group environment, you're faced with like challenges and things that show up in group, things that like trigger you and other people, things that maybe like you resonate with and you can kind of take away from. And so I kind of want to talk about like the aspects that were challenging for me first, to kind of share like what showed up and how I worked through them, or how I was able to like process those. So that kind of process, I guess. So a lot of the challenges that came up were things that bothered me, or I struggled with other people. So, and I'll highlight a couple different things. So at first there was someone in the group who I noticed had a hard time with just maybe not enjoying certain aspects of things, or like maybe not enjoying a certain thing, but he expressed a lot of um, resistance towards like the class and towards certain aspects of life. Um, so he said that like he hated sitting in traffic, and he hated like doing his work and like working on that kind of stuff. And that kind of bothered me, because one of my values is to like always view things in a positive light, or like try to understand things in a way that provides the least resistance. And so like for me, by my definition book, like expressing hatred or being like resistant towards doing something is against like my code of ethics, I guess, or like my code of like how I view the world. And so I kind of had to come to terms with how to embrace that aspect of him, of like of him like not enjoying those things, or like being hateful towards those things, and understanding that that is like his way of dealing with stress, that's his way of coping with things, and it's okay for people to have it that way. And so it was really like, whenever I know for me, like the way I like to frame things is whenever I see somebody that triggers me, it's reminding me about something inside myself that I haven't worked through yet, or I haven't processed. And so there's a part of me, as I just mentioned, that I had a belief system that hating something or being resistant towards something is not okay. And so by me having that rigid belief system, I then had resistance in experiencing with him. So I had to like kind of understand that it's okay for him to be that way, and it's even okay for me to have feelings of hate or have feelings of resistance towards things, and give myself allowance in those things, because one of the core things that I've learned through the other experiences too is that like my belief system and my understanding of the world is rigid sometimes and can be kind of limiting in how it interfaces with all the things that might show up. So I have very kind of rigid values and rigid rules about how things should be. And so that theme kind of showed up with him. It showed up with some other people. I noticed like resistance building up inside of me if something was happening outside in the world that wasn't in alignment with like how I viewed things. So there was an example where one of our peers was presenting, and the time limit was set for like 3 minutes, but he presented for probably like 8 or 9 minutes, and I could feel myself getting like frustrated, irritated, and that's because I held like the rigid belief that like, hey, like we have 3 minutes, and this is like unacceptable that he is going beyond those 3 minutes. And so that like dissonance or that expectation of what reality should be and it not meeting that created that resistance. And so upon reflection afterwards, I realized that like because I had such a rigid narrative around that, it caused me so much suffering and kind of irritation in the experience. So it really made me think about like how am I defining things? And when resistance does show up, how is my belief system what is it showing about how I'm choosing to view the reality, and what is it I need to work on? And it wasn't apparent to me like in the moments that it was happening. I knew that something was happening, and just having awareness that like, oh, like resistance is coming up, like I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm noticing that it's here. And just allowing it to be there to the level I was able to, and then reflecting on it afterwards was like helpful for me to understand eventually like what was going on. And I think I will continue to like obviously learn from that experience, but that was kind of what I was processing. There was another experience that comes to mind too, that when I was like traveling back home, the first flight I had was very it was very cramped, very not much space. It was a very small plane for such a long flight. It was an 8-hour flight. So my main strategy there was just kind of like watch some movies, which luckily they had like Bluetooth on that plane, so I was able to use my own headphones for the flight, which was really nice. And I watched some movies I've been looking forward to watching, so that was good. But on my second flight home, it was like a really short flight. There was no screen or anything, and I was able to kind of just sit and just kind of focus on just being present and just noticing what's there, and like kind of just breathing and just coming back to the present and noticing what's there and accepting everything that it was showing up. So I was kind of moving into a deep state of meditation, and there was a passenger sitting right next to me who was very, I could tell was very like go, 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 always had something in their hands like scrolling or like trying to type on something, very like busy minded. And so it was interesting to see that contrast of like someone who is very much like very much focused on like being distracted away from being present, and I was very much like being like focused on just being present and like enjoying the peacefulness that it exists in the moment. And at first it was kind of bothering me because I was like, hey, I'm in this like peaceful state, like, you know, in my mind I'm like, you need to like calm down. And then I'm like, hold on. Why am I getting frustrated over something that like I'm choosing to experience? Just because like I'm choosing to experience that in this moment doesn't mean I need to project my definitions and my belief system that everybody should be doing this. And so I had to check myself in the moment and realize that like I can reframe this as like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to see that this person sitting next to me is an expression of creation. This is an expression of the universe, just like I am. and there's beauty, and there's like it, like the universe is allowing this to exist, and therefore it's powerful, it's beautiful, it's amazing, just as me being present in the moment is powerful, beautiful, and amazing. And so being able to view it in that way, and then also view that as a reminder of like, hey, like I've been that way before. I avoid, I get stuck into like escapism, or like, you know, and this is my own projected version of like what I see on her. I could have been completely wrong, but that's what I was seeing. And so that's important for me to like, that I can learn from that. So being able to see that like, hey, sometimes like I use my leg, or like I constantly am like looking for things to distract myself, as a reminder to help me understand myself better, and seeing the contrast of somebody who's like maybe avoiding the present moment, what that looks like, what's the like emotional feeling that's associated with that, versus like how I was feeling in that moment, which was like feelings of like openness and like reflectiveness and like peacefulness, and just enjoying, just like being there, and not necessarily trying to get off the plane, but just like enjoying being on the plane, and just realizing that like peacefulness exists. Like no matter where I am, I can choose to come to the present moment and just enjoy like the peacefulness that is, right? And so that, just being able to like realize that that peace is always there. It's like, it's free. I can tap into it whenever I want to. And I guess like my understanding, or like how I choose to see it, is like there's like a peacefulness that underlies everything. And so that like that peacefulness is like a perspective that you potentially could cultivate, and like live your life from that place more often. You're not always going to be there, because life kind of pulls us in like different directions and gets us hyper focused and like, oh my god, like I need to get like this and that and that, and if I don't do this I won't be able to do that. That exists too, and that like there's learning in that. There's like that can be part of life. And there's also this aspect that just like, wow, it's beautiful to be here in this moment. So acknowledging that both of those realities are true, and that not one or the other is better or superior. They both exist. It just depends on like what is important for you and what provides benefit for you in that moment. Whether you know, and like, are we consciously being there in that space, or is that has that become like an unconscious pattern of behavior, where that's something that maybe we fall into. So it's not good or bad. It's just how it just is. And so that was a really powerful kind of process to be a part of, and to observe. So there's a lot more that I learned on the trip. Like there's I'm going to be unpacking it for a while, but those are the ones that come to mind right now in this moment, and I'm sure I'm going to share more in the future, but I just wanted to kind of come on and just share and make a video about whatever came to mind, and that's what's come into mind for me today. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I look forward to making more videos. So yeah, I guess you'll see me when I post next. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you guys are all doing well. Make sure to just do whatever is right for you in this moment. So whatever that looks like for you. All right? No pressure. Because like, you're you and I'm me. You know what is best for you at any given moment in time. So, all right, guys, take care. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.